Well, now it's time for.
I just busted right inside him, and he can't extend on me anymore, and he seems a little overwhelmed by my girth and tonnage.
Coach,
Club.
girth and tonnage.
Girth and tonnage, baby. That's what this episode's all about. Welcome to the not so sweet 16 bracket of the Head Coach Fight Club. We are here now, ready to see who is going to lay claim to the throne of Head Coach Fight Club. Now, today's episode, we're going to do two matchups. All right, we're going to have the 1 versus the 16 and the 7 versus the 10 seed. Regular rules apply in terms of spinning the wheel to determine what type of fight they're going to be in. So, with that said, let's take a look at our combatants today. So, in the 1 versus 16 matchup, I believe we all agreed we had this man right here, D'Amico Ryans, as the number 1 seed. He is the favorite, based on our deliberations, to advance to the final round.
It was a really scientific process if you missed it.
Yes.
I mean, it came down to him or Kevin O'Connell for number 1 overall.
Okay.
That is not true. That is not true. But anyway, and then our 16th seed, Kyle Shanahan. All right. Look at him. Now, there is some beauty in this matchup in that these two were once on the same coaching staff. D'Amico Ryans having orchestrated the ferocious defense the 49ers had during his tenure with
D'Amico
Kyle
Ryans
Shanahan.
having done his job. Kyle Shanahan not. Perhaps having done his job.
It depends on what school of thought you have, right? Now, we have our 7 and 10 seed. So, as we have it listed here, probably the most just lopsided matchup that we, well, maybe not the most lopsided matchup because you're 1 versus 16, but for two guys who aren't separated by much in terms of seeding, if you ask one of our esteemed judges on this panel, this shouldn't be much of a fight, and that is going to be our 7th seed, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, because he's clearly going to win,
Minnesota.
right?
Look how
Right.
happy he is to even be here.
Right. Kevin O'Connell, who won the NFC North, by the way. There's a reason he's in the 7th seed. He won the North, not because of me, but because of the people next to me. All right? And then you have the 10th seed, Mike Tomlin. Look at that career record. Last year, he made a lot of noise going through the loser's end
Final
of
four?
the bracket. I believe he made it to our Final Four.
Yeah.
He has a 5-2 record. Look at that. 5'8", 210, built like a goddamn bulldog.
And he's
All right.
just underslotted here. Somehow he didn't win his division, and he has no business being in the bottom 16, but he had to be, so.
Yeah, somebody had to be. It's a shame that he is here. He's overqualified to be at the 10th seed. But you know what?
Harbaugh.
Doesn't
How did
matter.
John Harbaugh? Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Listen. If I remember correctly,
Kevin O'Connell has to fight Mike Tomlin because you guys somehow had John Harbaugh beating Mike Tomlin.
I don't remember John Harbaugh beating him.
Well, I know that
Oh,
I wouldn't have done that, so.
No, listen, we have the tape. We can always go back to see how that ended up happening.
Look, I think what makes this special is how unserious the first round goes, because then we get to this point, we're like, what the fuck? And then we try to apply logic, and it's like, well, that's already gone.
What did we do?
Yeah, well, that's thrown out the window. So I feel like one of these matchups might be more competitive than the other. So we're going to save the competitive one for last. And I say competitive in quotes here. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the 1 and 16 matchup real quickly. We'll see how this goes, and we'll see what the wheel says for this first matchup.
Oh,
And as
that's
I
why you
skip-
switched. Sorry, I forgot to put the wheels over here. I was like, who keeps doing that? And why? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's I gotta.
It makes it harder for me to pull out any of my bag of tricks, you know?
Yeah.
So this one, gentlemen, might be one of the easiest matchups for us to try to speculate on, and it's this. This is what the wheel has determined will be the 1 versus 16 matchup.
Oof.
Fight on the field. That is right. These two gentlemen find themselves across from each other. So,
In that classic Texans 49ers matchup.
absolutely. This is definitely going to be more of a preseason
Two
matchup.
of the franchises of all time.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the most storied and
And franchise. The Houston Texans, the most franchise of all time. All right. So where does this take place? I'm going to tell you where. This takes place during the preseason.
the Super
all right?
Bowl.
Nope. Because that would require the 49ers to get there again, and I don't see it. Not at all. So we have an out-of-conference preseason matchup between the 49ers and the Houston Texans. Now, let me tell you how I think this is going. It's preseason. You know, they got the dogs on the leash here. They're not going all out, but it's fucking Kyle Shanahan. The guy just has a broom up his ass at all times. Just never seems to be, having a good time, having a relaxed time ever. Look at his fucking his press conferences, okay? Somebody asked him a question about next season. You know what he's responded to that? He was like, well, I don't know if we'll be alive tomorrow. That lets you know where this man's head is at any given time. So, in this matchup, this is how I see things going, all right? It's 12-12. You got the third stringers in there already going into halftime. And as the teams make their way to the locker room, the coaches go to the middle of the field to kind of have a quick catch up. Hey, coach, how you doing? It's been a while. And D'Amico Ryans, he makes an offhanded comment, because he's looking at the 49ers defense. It's like, man, they're not as sound as they used to be under me. Oh, no wonder Patrick Mahomes carved you guys up. Kyle Shanahan, he does not take lightly to that. All right. He immediately gets in D'Amico's face. D'Amico's just shooting the shit, just busting his old boss's balls up. And you know what happens? Kyle Shanahan, he grabs his clipboard, smacks D'Amico Ryan over the head with it. He's like, don't you dare disrespect me. Don't you dare disrespect me. But what he just did was awaken the beast inside. All right. Those playing days, that CTE activates inside of D'Amico Ryan. D'Amico Ryan takes a few steps back, immediately hits him with a shoulder tackle right into the sternum. It looks like a spear from Goldberg back in WCW. And then he just picks him up and then starts wailing on him. Refs come by. You got Ed Hockley, I believe that's the one with muscles. Mm-hmm. He tries to get him off of him. Can't. D'Amico Ryan is just an enraged, just livid man right now. They try to pull him away. He gets up. He just does it himself. Kyle Shanahan looks up at him and he's like, that all you got? So we get a classic 1995 style tackle. Helmet to helmet, except neither man has a helmet. Kyle Shanahan dies on the spot. D'Amico Ryans is proving himself to be a dominant 1 seed in this year's tournament. That's how I see this going. I'm going to pass this matchup along to Patrick on this one for the next one.
Yeah, if we're going to fight on the field. So I see, got it. Okay. So the Texans are winning because it's a regular season game, and so they're going to look pretty good. The CJ Stroud firing on all cylinders. Kyle Shanahan's like, I didn't even know there was a team in Houston. He's mad. So he starts.
I was going to say, he coached?
He coached in Houston.
This was their OC for?
It doesn't matter.
No. He thought that was arena football. Matt Shaw?
Yeah. He's like, what am I at AAA now? Nah, he probably would have thought it's like single A rookie ball. Anyways, so yeah, he's getting mad. He doesn't like the way things are going. He's talking shit on the sideline. and he accidentally starts talking a little too loud, and his players can hear it, and then all of a sudden the Texans players can hear it, and they start coming back to the sideline like, "Hey, coach, this guy's talking some shit." And D'Amico Ryans is like, "Yeah, let him talk, whatever." Halftime, it's 42-0 Texans. Coming back out, Shanahan running out the tunnel, keeps running, just cold cocks, pops D'Amico Ryans in the face. Ryans has to go back to the locker room for just a second. They get it looked at. He comes back out for the fourth quarter. End of the game. It's 84-0 Texans. They win. They go to midfield. D'Amico Ryans extends his hand for a handshake. Kyle Shanahan spits on the ground. Doesn't spit on his hand, but he spits on the ground in front of him. Still pretty disrespectful, but a little bit less gross. And then D'Amico Ryans has had enough, and then just proceeds to wail on him for as long as it takes to kill Kyle Shanahan.
So we had an assault that the NFL did nothing about. Let the coach continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what did Myles Garrett get, like a game for hitting someone?
But he at least immediately was out of the game.
That's right.
In this situation, you got Kyle Shanahan acting like a 1970s basketball coach, smacking somebody and going back to the sideline.
Again, I think if we go back to ratings for games involving the Texans, the NFL could get away with not adjudicating this immediately.
All right, I see.
All right, Bethke.
Well, it's been decided, but
you see
unfortunately, I think things would go differently. I think you guys have a great idea of how this would go. I think you're both wrong, and you're allowed to be wrong in a majority. That's America.
I love going last when it doesn't matter.
So look, what happens here is a duel. Midfield on the San Francisco oval-shaped logo, they will have a sumo wrestling match.
And then George T comes out and tackles both of them.
Is it the halftime of the game, or is this before or after?
Doesn't matter. The stands are full, though. Everybody's there. Everybody's having a great time.
All right, this is right before the game, then.
They think this, Kyle Shanahan knows that no matter what, they've changed the rules, but he's still going to lose. No matter what, that he is outmatched. How possibly could he get past this? Well, there's nothing he's going to do. As everyone's watching this fight begin, the competitors sizing each other up, a shadowy figure emerges from the tunnel. Oh, brother, I need to save the day.
Oh, no.
Nick Bosa, disguised as Bane, blows up the field and but before he did, in the sumo diaper is an expandable cushion for Kyle Shanahan to fall safely to the ground with. Unharmed. While an entire field falls on top of D'Amico Ryans.
So in this instance, D'Amico Ryans loses, but not because of Kyle, because of somebody else.
Yes. Nick Bosa had to take matters into his own hands.
It's the first time that Nick Bosa has ever come in clutch. First time a Bosa has come in clutch in such a situation. Well, as you could tell, the majority has ruled 2-1, surprisingly, in the favor of D'Amico Ryans. Moving on to the Elite Eight. Now, we're going to go to our 7 versus 10 matchup. It is O'Connor, and it is Tomlin. And they will be fighting, well, you'll see for yourself. It's a barroom.
Thank God.
Oh, baby.
It's a barroom blitz.
All right. So,
I feel like we have definitely done this one a ton too, though.
Though the wheel loves the barroom. I don't understand it. It's supposed to be 1/6. Listen, one of these days, just watch. The final will be a joust.
We had one, and
we've had a couple jousts. I don't think there's any category we haven't.
No, we've gotten everything at least once. I would have to
everything
go
at
back.
least once.
You know what? That'll be the next stat I put in the Fight Club sheet.
How many?
I gotta figure out what all the fights were.
each?
It's been very few pro wrestling.
Last year's
It's
gonna
been
be tough.
it's
We
been
didn't
a
do that.
couple anime. I feel like boxing is the one we've had the least.
I don't know. It started boxing heavy at the beginning.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I'll let
Either
y'all
way,
know.
because-
either
Yeah,
way.
I'll
Yeah,
get
we'll
back
find
on
out.
that.
We'll
Hopefully
test
by
the
next
data.
week.
We'll test it. But for now, we are at a barroom fight. So, all right, these two gentlemen, I don't know when they would have intersected at all in their careers. I just don't think they've ever really crossed paths. So, yet again, I'm
we've-
taking this to
No, O'Connell hasn't been coach playing the Steelers yet.
O'Connell. So, he might have played against the Steelers when he was a member of the Jets. But, I mean, how often do, third string QBs ever actually talk to the opposing head coach? We don't know. But these two gentlemen, you know what? They're present this time, they're not in Indy. This time they're in Arizona. For whatever reason, they accompanied the owners for the owners' meetings. They're present there. All right. They're not really interacting too much during the meetings themselves. Of course, the owners are all just talking bullshit about new rule changes, new league changes that nobody's a fan of except them. And you know what? The coaches, they get bored. They go down to the convention lobby. There just so happens to be a bar right then and there selling overpriced cocktails, overpriced beers. Now, I look at Tomlin. Tomlin looks to me and he can down a couple beers, all right? All right, I'd see him and he's like, you know what? He probably, if he was from Texas, I could see him taking down a bunch of shots. I don't know what the equivalent is for Arizona, but fuck it. He's drinking some regional beer
You
down
don't
there.
think he's gotten whatever Pittsburgh's beer is at this point?
I mean, if they have a beer, right? Like that sells nationally or remotely nationally, doesn't matter. Either way, I could see him down, a couple pints here and there. I look at O'Connell and I'm like, you know what? This guy, he's doing Tito's and tonic with a lime on the rim. All right, he's not doing a double. He's doing a single.
Youngling is not necessarily Pittsburgh specific, but it's Pennsylvania. Sorry.
All right, so then he's,
It's the top selling beer in the world.
Yingling. So he's doing Yingling, right? Absolutely pounding the Yinglings back. And then you have O'Connell just, again, sipping. He's sipping on his Tito's and tonic through two little thin straws. All right.
Sipping on some
Tito's. Sip, right? And they're just shooting the shit as coaches will do. But you know what? There's just something that just bugs Mike Tomlin about Kevin. Something just doesn't sit right with him. Right? He looks at this tall, lanky man. He's like, man, you just kind of strike me as soft. And, this is drunk Mike Tomlin talking. He's like, what do you mean by that? It's like, oh, no, don't take any offense. You just don't strike me as, a Midwestern guy. You got too much of that California in you. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? It's like, it's like Will Ferrell said. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Yeah.
And it gets the people going. Well, this gets Kevin O'Connell's blood going. All right. He does not take those words too kindly. And he spills his drink. He grabs his drink and he spills it in Mike Tomlin's face. He's like, how dare you, sir? That was the wrong move, buddy. You may have the height advantage. You may have the length advantage, but you do not have the girth advantage. All right? And he's going to overwhelm O'Connell with his girth and his tonnage. All right? He has a low center of gravity. He's built like a goddamn bulldog. So he immediately grabs his bar stool, throws it at Kevin O'Connell's head. Kevin goes to block, and what does Mike Tomlin do? Like a seasoned vet, he goes for the legs, right? Because how do you take away somebody's height advantage? By bringing them to the ground. Takes him to the ground, dumps it on his head, grabs those bottles of Yingling that he's been throwing back, and just busts it on Kevin O'Connell's head. And he just starts pounding him. And that is it. Baby, it is a 1, 2, 3.
So you're saying a bottle being broken over the head is the KO for you?
It's the KO right there.
All right. I mean, that's fair. It is a barroom brawl.
It's not Roadhouse. Come on.
Yeah.
Real life,
no.
someone breaks a bottle over your head, you're probably going down.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a liquor bottle, right?
Yep. And
fucking
I'm
heavy
gonna
ass Jack
pass-
bottle.
I'm gonna pass this along, Patrick, because I feel like I know where he might go in this fight.
For entertainment purposes, this is probably the correct order to do this in. So yeah, I mean, very kind of similar situation here. Guys at a bar. I don't necessarily see them as hanging out together though. They're just both at the same bar. It's NFL coaches, kind of a mixer, if you will. I've never been to anything called a mixer, so I don't actually know what that means besides actually a party. But I assume it means something. You're mixing something. Drugs.
Usually like icebreaker things.
Yeah, it's a mixture of people.
Yeah,
You
you
don't
mix
know.
people and then you do icebreaker things to make them talk.
So it's just a way to have a party without calling it a party.
It's like a party where no one knows each other and you try to fix that awkwardly.
Okay, fair
Yes.
enough. Okay, that actually does make a little sense. Anyways, yeah, so all the coaches are hanging out. They're shooting, they're drinking. The ones that do, I'm sure there's some that don't. But anyways, guys are getting riled up, and they break into a what if conversation. Well, what do you guys think would happen if Jimmy Johnson and Bill Belichick fought on the field? And they're breaking it down. I don't know why anyone would want to do these kind of crazy hypotheticals or think about it, but that's what these coaches are doing. They're breaking down hypotheticals of past coaches. And then someone decides to let's talk current coaches. Let's talk about us here. Let's change this up a little bit. And someone's like, yeah, what if Mike, pointing at Tomlin, what if Mike fought Kevin, KOC? And everyone's just laughing. And Tomlin's like, I'd end him. Pretty serious. And Kevin, not really usually one of these guys. He gets offended. He's kind of like, well, what do you mean? Let's go. We got a ring right here. Because this is the bar with the boxing ring, like most of them have in them. And
you don't want to face this guy scorned.
So their bar fight actually is going to take place inside of a boxing ring. And what Tomlin might not remember is Kevin O'Connell. He's a bit of a quick-footed guy. I think he ran like I just had it, a 4.640 at the combine. Not slow.
15 years ago.
Second only to Josh Johnson in the quarterbacks. So must be
Was
good.
it the 2008 draft?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they strap him on. They get going, and Tomlin quickly realizes this is gonna be a little tougher than he thought. O'Connell's quick. He can get away from the clutches. He's got a reach where he can kind of keep you away. He's not really landing any powerful blows, but all of a sudden Tomlin's thinking this is a real fight. I gotta work a little bit here. It's not as automatic as I thought. They go a couple rounds. Tomlin does get some good, when he gets him good. But Kevin's hanging in there. He's doing fine. And then about round 4 or 5, you just start to see it. Tomlin's wearing down. And Kevin's just kind of the same. Stupid grin on his face, jogging around, making jokes. And eventually it's just too much for Tomlin. He just kind of collapses out of exhaustion. And Kevin O'Connell, without really doing much, he wins the bar fight.
It's beautiful.
Interesting.
That gives us a 1-1 tie.
It is now in the capable hands of Jacob Bethke, our esteemed judge on this panel, to decide how he thinks this fight will turn out. Bethke, the floor is yours.
Kevin, if
Very
you're watching this,
simple.
you're welcome. I got you
Very
as far as I
simple.
could, bud.
Very simple setting here. Just we're looking at a dreary bar. There doesn't have to be any sort of NFL reason here. There's just two guys at a bar, two fellas passing each other in the night. One guy's already at the bar, the other guy's walking up to the bar. O'Connell, he's sitting at the bar. He's been there for a bit. Mike Tomlin walks in. unbeknownst to him, walks next to literally the chair next to O'Connell and orders a cranberry vodka. O'Connell looks at him and says, "What? You on your period?" Mike Tomlin smashes the glass over his head, instantly knocking him out. And the whole bar looks at him and says, "You know who that is? That's the Minnesota Vikings head coach." And Tomlin just looks at him and says, "You can get a new one." And he goes on with his day.
And with a score of 2-1, in one of the quickest bouts we have seen in head coach like history, to decide who advances, Mike Tomlin, you get to continue your journey in the Elite Eight. He has upset, quote unquote, the 7th seed, Kevin O'Connell, KOC, who has been TKO'd from this tournament. And that
It was a tough life.
It is tough life. And that will conclude the Head Coach Fight Club portion of today's program. Tune in next week to see who will get to fight and continue on. And hopefully you too will be able to say,
"And I've been waiting, baby."
All right. Hopefully by next week I can remember to fix the volume on that clip.
Yeah, I could have done that when I cut it down, but
Jesus,
I definitely didn't think
that was
about
so
it.
loud every time. Well, you don't know until you put it in here because it's like without the context. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that one I knew was kind of loud, but I just didn't think about it. And then I was like, "Oh shit, it's really loud." And now
You
it's
know
just
which
a thing.
I wish this one was a little louder.
I'm gonna get my Aprilla.
Oh, wait.
You're clicking too much.
Who's clicking it now?
I'm gonna get my Aprilla out and do burnouts on your front lawn, and then I'm gonna chuck mud bombs at your nan's windows, you silly bastards.
You silly bastard.
The guy behind him just casually just taking it in is also a good part of that clip.
You need to have good background, guys.
You do. You do.